And I love blending. I'll dye the wool. So say I have a piece, I want yellow, yellow to peach to red, blue. I can dye it that way, and then I can hook my backgrounds with the color just flowing from one to the next. So it kind of reminds me a little bit of watercolors, just flows nicely. And if you get the loops nice, you know, it's beautiful way to do a background. Next. Okay, then I'll have to go back to a little history, art history from back a while. Okay. So my themes are usually birds. And how I got to birds is kind of a long story, but to make it a little shorter, my husband's a birder. So we go out watching birds, listening to birds, songbirds, owls, raptors. And we spend a lot of time on a lake, and I'm from the ocean, so water birds are big for me. Water birds, egrets, and tall birds that have nice shapes. I'm drawn to those just naturally, herons and egrets. So I started in art school when I was painting. I thought I'd be a painter. And I would spend a lot of time in greenhouses. I like plants and I like flowers. I have big gardens. I spent a lot of time with the leaves, and I enjoyed just creating design, texture, color with leaves and plants. And from there, from painting, I went into botanical illustration, a little bit of botanical illustration with watercolors, and we started to go into birds. So we did flowers, leaves, and I thought, oh, I could probably do this forever. But we started to paint birds, and it just caught my interest. I said, I love birds, I love the way they move, and I'm surrounded by a lot of birds. We're going to go for birds. So I started that way to get into birds. So one day, I think I was driving, and a red-tailed hawk flew right in front of my window, and it was like it was talking to me. And I went home, and within a day or so, a red-tailed hawk landed in a tree by my front door. And he was probably hunting a little bird, but I got a picture of him, and I said, ooh, there's some meaning to this. What is going on with this red-tailed hawk? I don't know much about hawks. And I started to study about hawks and the spirit of the hawk, and how it makes you think about thinking big, looking down from above. And I started to make hawks, draw hawks. And once I started drawing them, then I was hooking them. And for one show where there was, I was rug hooking then, and one show they asked us to do a three-dimensional piece. And they wanted a little three-dimensional piece, and I did a full-size red-tailed hawk, three-dimension, needle felted the head and hooked the whole thing. So that's the hawk story, and that's how I got into raptors. I like raptors a lot. Owls are my big thing. I spend a lot of time at VINS, Vermont Institute of Natural Science, just looking at the eagles and the owls. I can take pictures. They'll let you go in and take pictures. So I have a lot of wonderful subjects at VINS. Since then, I've had a show at VINS this last year with 34 birds. Oh, that owl's talking. Eagle, that's an eagle. So I had all my owls at the show at VINS this year. It was wonderful, and created a lot more than I thought. Went into kestrels, which I love the colors of the little kestrels. And when you go to VINS, they tell you all about the nesting and all their habits. And what I like is to study the bird that I choose to hook and find out about their nesting habits and what's around them in the background. How am I going to create my picture of that bird and show its habitat, show its nests and its babies. So that's a lot of fun for me. And the same with my water birds, so egrets. I spend time taking photos. I use the photos. I use book illustrations. And the thing with the egrets is I love the long neck and the long beak, and they're just so beautiful, elegant, that they're a lot of fun to hook. I use feathers in my hooking, which is pretty unique. The first time people saw them, they were like, oh my gosh, we've never seen feathers. So that's unique. The raised Waldeboro technique is unique to Sandy. People want to know how you do it, how you do it, how the feathers go in, and how I work with all this texture. Traditional rug hooking is just a flat rug hooking, like in the background, just the movement of the straight low hooks is traditional, which a lot of people do. But now in the last few years, probably from seeing my birds and my pieces and other people working with more texture, yarns are becoming very popular. So I hook with a good 30% yarn as well as the wool. And I love the yarns because they give so much texture. Okay, so, and you can stop at any time if I have a question. So how far back do you want me to go? Do you need basic history background or no?
Yeah, just when you started your pursuit in rug hooking. So did it start with art school? Did it start with, yeah.
Okay. So I found rug hooking about 16 years ago. I'm an artist, fiber artist, art teacher background. And I did a lot of weaving, worked with a lot of fiber. And one day it was too hard on me, I couldn't do any more weaving. So I sold both studios.
Okay, look over there.
Oh.
Well, just not your whole body, but just like turn, don't look at the camera.
Don't look at the camera, okay. Okay, so.
So I don't know where you want, if you need a focus.
Is it good right there?
Yeah, I mean, you can look around, just don't always look
Watch
at the
you.
camera. Yeah.
Okay. Start again?
Yeah.
So I'm an artist. I've been an artist all my life. Just knew this was what I wanted to do. Create is what I'm about, creating, making things, using my hands. And I went to art school, went to college. So I was a fiber artist. I was a potter once, a fiber artist. I taught in the schools and had a weaving business. And I thought when I retired, I would make all these creative things I didn't get a chance to when I was weaving to sell things, but my arms gave out, so I had to find a new medium late in life. Not a good thing if you have your medium and you love it. But I liked fiber, I liked texture, and I'm a colorist. I like a lot of color. So I was in Vermont and I found a little shop in Montpelier, and the woman out of her house was teaching rug hooking. I had a couple friends. I said, hey, let's go try it. So we went and we tried it, and the 2 or 3 of us that were looking for different kinds of crafts to do, not so professionally as I was, said, yeah, this really works. We like it. We can work with color. We can paint with wool. So that's what I do. I think I paint with wool. So that was about 16 years ago. I started with a small project just to learn the technique, and I'm going to show you how I do this. So basically, rug hooking consists of a hook. Different hooks, there are different types of hooks, many types. And everybody finds their own personal hook, what fits their hand well, what you feel comfortable with. And sometimes we want a bigger hook for different sizes. But this lately is my favorite hook, this little Hartman hook. And then the other tools we need is some scissors. So how clever, we have these little magnets, put them on our linen, hold the scissors, hold the hook so we don't lose things. So this project I'm working on, so I hook birds, mostly birds are my themes. My husband's a birder and has taught me a lot about birds, and we live in a spot where we see so many birds all the time. So I'm working on this cardinal nest. Sometimes I do a whole bird, but this piece, I actually took a class this year from Ann Cox, who's a well-known rug hooker who does lots of varieties with her borders. So I chose the theme of a nest, and this will be a real funky kind of nest. I don't have the fuzzy part to put in yet. but this will be a nest with the birds. And what this is kind of a learning project, because what I'm learning about is how can I bring in shapes and colors and create a variety of borders, which I don't usually do. When you look at my other pieces, you'll see a bird with a border. So right now I'm learning about how to change that and make it more creative without losing my focus on the main piece. And how I do this rug hooking, well, there's a couple ways to do it, but I'll just take this red piece and my hand goes underneath the bottom and the hook goes in, and basically I just pull the wool. This is cut wool, cut hand-dyed wool, and then the loop comes up and you pull it up and drop it. You put it in, you pull it up, you drop it. And this doesn't go here particularly, but I'm just showing you how you pull the loop. And this becomes a very methodical thing. You see how many holes there are to fill. So what in rug hooking language we do is when we do borders, we can easily just hook and meditate, and read a book and listen to a book, do whatever we want. So that's a basic pulling a loop and ending it. So say I want to put another color in. But what I'm working on here is raising the loop. So I take a loop, I cut all my wool, I put it in little packages so I can travel around with my craft. That's what I really like about rug hooking. You can just travel. You couldn't go places with weaving. So this technique is called Waldeboro, which is an old technique where you pull up the wool higher than usual, way higher, as high as you want. And I usually go above what I want because I'm going to cut it back. So this is raising the loops up. Technique came from England. We use it in America now and have for many, many years. So it just raised, and you can see this particular wool is a mixed hand-dyed piece from dark to light. So that'll blend in very nicely there. So I just raise it up, put the hook over here and take my scissors when I'm ready and just clip it. So I do a lot of cutting to sculpt the birds, to get it to fit in. Usually I wait quite a while before I cut it all down. I sculpt it about 3 times, the piece I'm working on. But then I can just drop that, as you see. And what I've got is a little blending of color. So that's why I think we paint with wool. We blend color. Now what is unique for my pieces is not only do I raise the pieces and I work with, this is what most rug hookers work with, is cut wool, hand-dyed cut wool, but I like shiny things and I like textured things. So with this bird, this probably won't be the right color, but so say I want to put some fluff in, I can just, here's some silk that's in this bird. I'll just put it down here just to show you. So I can raise the yarn. So I'm always searching for different materials that I can pull through and hook with and make interesting texture. So I'm all about color and texture with my work. So there it is. Probably won't stay there, but then I come along and cut those loops again and see what happens. And then you can cut them down. So that's what I did up here with these mixed, oh, there's one that needs to be cut. Mixed, this is a milk silk sari and other little fuzzy things. At the very end, I put in all my fluff and texture like this, not till the end of the piece. Otherwise, it'll pull out. And then rug hookers always have a container close by for what we call our snippets. And that's where they go. So this piece, I can't wait to finish the borders. I'm going to do the leaf border. This little edging that has a black and white is called beading with rug hooking, and you take a black and a white piece and you hook them together to get that kind of a strip. One of my favorite additions to pieces. So that's where I am on this. We do hook on linen. This is regular linen. I start my piece by a drawing on tracing paper, or I just sketch right on my linen sometimes with a pencil. you know, we use a lot of big pencils, kindergarten pencils, and we draw our work on, and then we take a marker and go over it when we know we have the shapes and the things correct. So that's it. It's just really drawing your design on and hooking it. Oh, I should show you the other shiny. Did I have a piece? So I like to work with this very shiny stuff lately. This is one of my favorites. And this one will probably be along the borders. So this shiny stuff is kind of fun, kind of different. You have to cut it a certain way, but it gives this kind of a look. And lately, I'm really into shinies. So you play with that. Has to be kind of thin and a little hard to get through, not for the beginner person with the hook. And so what we can do with this hook, we can hook in any direction, up, across. There are not too many rules on how you do the process. And there's a little bit of shiny, which probably will be a blue row in there when I get all my little squares in. And what else is nice about rug hooking, if you don't like it, you know, you just like this blue line's going to come out. So say I don't want that in there. Oh, I like this feature. Just pull it right out. So that's pretty much my cardinal nest. Okay, so this is a spot at my small studio where I sit and come up with my ideas and draw on the linen and come up with a project. And where do I start for projects? Well, I've just come back from a whale watch. So I brought back my fins, my pictures, and this page will continue on with ideas of how I can do some whales in the ocean, the whale tails. I have an idea. I am a naturalist. I just love my flowers and my garden. And today I picked some turtle heads from the garden because they won't be here another day or two. We may lose turtle heads. And these pink turtle heads, you know, they have a little look of a turtle when you look at them. And I'm known for gardening, having my big gardens. And I'm known in the valley for having a lot of turtle heads. So Garden Club comes to me every year and asks if they can dig them, and I say, of course, because they spread everywhere. I have them, they're everywhere around my house. White ones I can't grow, I don't know why, but these I can. So my ideas, I start thinking and creating from nature. And this one is about turtles, because what I want to do, I basically just write it down first. Okay, I've got this idea. Now I have to follow through to get some photos of turtle heads for the winter, because I may not do this project for a couple months. So I write down what my focus is. My focus will be bringing the natural flowers, the turtle heads, the leaves maybe around a border, the turtle heads around the edge, and a turtle will come somewhere in there. Because we have an event we go to in November in Maine, and the theme, they set a theme for rug hookers. There'll be 100 rug hookers at this event, Bangor, Maine. There'll be 6 of us going from the valley. We have many rug hookers in the valley. And the theme is turtles. Can you hook a turtle? So there you go. So my theme will be from inspiration is coming from Ann Cox. I did a class with this woman who's from Maine, is her name, who does phenomenal rug hooking. She's known all over the country. And what she does is she has a theme. Usually she works from nature as well, a beach, a flower. And it's what she does with her borders that fascinates me. So you can see swirls and all this beautiful work Ann Cox does. Thank you, Ann, for having that class and showing me your work. And I think this one is most striking to me because it's layering and it's creating depth and it's creating a lot of things going on, so you don't, but yet your eye still knows you have a center. Same with this. You know you have a center, but look at the bordering. So I'm interested in doing more bordering, and if you look at this piece, or this piece even, this little piece, this is a sample of how am I going to get some borders in. And just with my beading and with my other, you know, and some just color, that's what I came up with an idea of a border from Ann Cox's class. So that's how I work. I work from, oh, I've been somewhere and I see, well, I've been looking at these turtle heads all summer and I know I want to do that project. Will I do a whale tail? Maybe, because I like doing ocean and I want to play more with water and the light of the water. So when I'm outside and I'm looking around from an artist's eye, I'm looking at, oh, what's the composition before I take the picture? What's the theme I'm going to use? And what are the colors, light to dark, around there that would work with what I'm looking at? So one big project I'll do this year, I'm going to do a piece for endangered species. Rug hookers in this country are let me start again. There'll probably be about 30 rug hookers in the United States that are getting together to choose an endangered species, bird or animal, and we're all going to do a piece, and then the show will travel around the country. So I chose, and I'm on the list, to do a macaw, a scarlet macaw or a violet macaw. So this is my sample for my macaw this year. We won't have this project done and going for another year, maybe a year and a half. So this is a project where I start a book. I get a book, you know, all my ideas, what I'm going to do. I get some pictures. I have people send me pictures. So lots of times for this project, I go to my friends. I'm going to need the colors. I'm going to need, let's see if there's anything really good in here. I'm going to need feathers. I've got my feathers ready. But a friend sent me this picture. So probably, you know, I'll go with something of that in the color of the bird. I'll choose the positions. I'll choose 2 or 3 on a branch. But that's my starting book this year for my macaw project. And one other thing I'm fascinated with, I was lucky enough to be at the Sunapee Craft Fair. I'm a juried member of the League of New Hampshire Craftsmen, so I go and I put in pieces for the show, and I demo there, and I met a leather person working, and he was kind enough to give me his interesting leather, and I've been cutting it up and hooking with it, and I think it's going to make great birds. And you know, there's a little strip, and here's a little fluffy, and it hooks, so I can hook it. It works, and we'll see what Sandy comes up with leather in a macaw. I don't know. We'll see. So that's the fun stuff. You can have fun with it. I look around and, oh, you know, shinies and this sort of thing is what I love. This will be a nest for those birds. So anything, any materials, velvets I use. I cut up everything I find. In other countries, rug hookers, in Guatemala, they hook with T-shirts. They get bales of T-shirts, that's all they have, and they make beautiful, beautiful hooking with T-shirts. I just came back from traveling and have some new ideas. So it's not always birds. And actually,
Well, we could stay there, you know.
oh, we can? Oh, this is good. Let's do it from here then. So let me get this back together. So how do we come up with ideas is where we're going, right?
Yeah, like your process, your research.
Yeah, so I want to show you this. Okay, and that you can look at after. Because then when you ask me, what makes me want to keep going? So you have a piece that it creates a lot of attention. So that's that part of it. Okay, let's see. Oh, and we'll bring, see that one piece, I want to grab that. See that guy? Yeah. That's a sample for a big project. So we'll put him over here maybe, or somewhere. Somewhere. Oops, hold on, this is stuck. Okay, roots of teaching and really enjoy it, especially when I find extremely enthusiastic people wanting to learn this craft. And once you do a couple projects, you definitely get hooked. And then they keep coming back. Okay, so how much hooking do I do? Well, this is my passion. I just love this craft. I really wish that they taught it in the high schools and colleges. Art schools should teach this medium because it's just so open to do whatever you want. You have a blank piece of linen, and that blank piece of linen, you can draw on it, you can cut out the form, you can make a three-dimensional piece. It doesn't have to be a bird, you can make anything three-dimensional. You can make a big swirl and it's three-dimensional. You can have texture in it, which I have done a little bit of, just that type of playing with what we can do, what kind of shapes. So you can do very modern things, that's what I'm trying to say. So they should be teaching using this medium more. And I hope by teaching it myself to beginners that my goal is to get more people interested so that it will continue on. And it doesn't age out with too many older people now not doing it anymore to teach us the older techniques, as well as bringing in the new techniques. So I hook kind of prolifically. I leave a station here, and I have a station, a portable station in my studio, and I can just roll my frames to different rooms. I can carry them. I can take a little bag and go on rug hook-ins with others, and just take a project to show. But I hook all the time. I'd say day and night. I don't hook straight in a row. I'll hook for an hour or so. I'll get up and cut, and then I'll come back and hook. In the evening, I have really good light here, so if I'm not doing anything too technical, I can work into the evening. So now I teach it as well. I teach beginners, and I get them started, and if they want to continue, I'm a mentor for teaching. I teach anybody who comes along wants to learn it, I will teach it to them. So I have a group once a month that wants to continue locally, and they come to the Warren Library, and we teach any techniques they haven't learned. We teach them how to frame. New theme, I've got another idea. So you just have to, I find I just have to jot it all down, so then I can bring my memory and take pictures to bring the memory back of how I could put the whale tail into a piece. That's how I work.
Yeah.
Projects to do. I just get so many ideas, and I'm one of those artists that goes in the zone and out. So I had like 8 months I was in the zone. I call it the zone. It's a creative spot where my mind goes, and ideas just keep coming and coming, especially in the good weather. If I'm outside, we have paths and trails and walk on the trails. We see bears out there, so last year I did some bears. Okay, I did a whole African series in 2022, 3, on zebras and giraffes. Elephants were good. So I did a lot of that sort of work, but I came back to the birds again. So yes, I will find other mediums. A friend of mine, Davy Mace, is in Heinsberg, a well-known rug hooker, and she does landscapes. And a lot of people do landscapes. There's one right on the cover. So I played with a landscape this year and may do some landscapes. I tend to want to do landscapes of the ocean and rocks because I spend a lot of time at the ocean. But this, so we keep taking classes. I just keep taking workshops. And other teachers, my friends that are teachers, say, oh, here's a geometric class coming up with a famous person from Indiana. Let's bring her in. Let's see what she will teach us. So I'm really open to bringing in all kinds of rug hooking and see where it goes. Right now I'm into more geometrics than the landscaping because I'm so interested in these borders. So this geometric teacher I am bringing in to the Warren Library. We have a group of 20 in November, and I'm hoping some of her ideas and techniques, how she works with her geometrics, so that's more modern type of work. I'll be able to incorporate them in mine. Little different. And I draw. So I draw. I have my sketchbook. I draw my birds. What do I want to do? This was for my nest program. I was thinking, how am I going to do a nest? And that's where I started with just, let me think about the birds. Let me see what I want to do for a border. Can I fit it in? And then I decide, then what size do I want? That's the hard part. What size will it work on? How do you fit it onto your frame? And you asked me why I want to continue. Why do I want to continue doing it? What keeps me interested? Well, once someone sees your piece or you have it in a show and people say, wow, how did you do that? And they ask questions and you just think, it's nothing, I just did it, whipped it up one day. And I started thinking, oh my gosh, people are asking questions, they want to learn it. I got to keep going and trying new things. So it just encouraged me once it was in a show or in a magazine that if people liked it that much, to put it in, to have it juried in, what is it about it that I can continue and make it interesting to all people. So this also was this is Celebrations magazine, comes out once a year, and I've been in it 4 times. So this is one. This big piece was in it, the heron, and others that I don't have out. So that's always encouraging when they do an article about you and a bio. So because I want to learn all aspects of hooking and what else can I do to learn about texture, I happen to find Grace Collette. I know many rug hookers because I'm a member of White Mountain Rug Hooking Guild in New Hampshire and Green Mountain, and ATHA, ATHA is our national group that we belong to, and we get a magazine from ATHA. I've written articles for this magazine, showing how you teach, showing different things. There's children, teaching children. So ATHA is throughout the country, and our New Hampshire Guild White Mountain is an ATHA member, so we're an ATHA Region 1 member. So I wanted to see what else I could do. So a friend of mine, I taught her how to hook, but she did these wonderful little birds. She made these out of yarns, and it's called punch needle. So I decided I'd find Grace Collette, the pro of our New Hampshire punch needle people, and I went this week to say, Grace, show me how to do some different stitches with a punch needle. So a punch needle is a little different than a hook. I'm not going to demonstrate it because I'm not that good at it yet, but the hook is like this. The punch needle catches yarn only, and you work with it and you punch it in. So it's like a punch motion. You just punch it in, and it creates texture. And I think what I'm going to do, this is just a little sample of what she did with it, but I think what I want to do in the future, so thinking ahead, is bring some of these yarn techniques into my pieces. What if I wanted, instead of this, I wanted to do some other kind of raised work with the yarns. So it's a new medium for me. That's how it comes, a little kit with all your yarns. And I can also do it with my wool. So I am fascinated to see how I can combine and put my strips of wool into this punch needle, and how this will combine the texture with this. So that's a new thing for me coming up this year. I still think I'm definitely hooked on rug hooking. It won't take away from that, but you can always add new things in. Time of it, but I'm going to teach. Are you going on it? So something else you said.
It's predominantly a women's craft, right?
Unfortunately, yes, but one man just died. Oh gosh, we lost 2 men, but there are some famous men that do rug hooking. So Gene Shepard, you can look him up, he's in California. He has studios, he dyes wool, he teaches, and I was fortunate enough to have his class when he came to Montpelier 8 or 9 years ago to learn to dye with Jean Shepherd. He does tutorials online, and he's just the best of the teachers. John Simowitz, another great teacher that did birds. Actually, I did one of my first birds with him. So there are a few men. I find when I teach this to young people, like at the demo in Sunapee, for instance, well, not only did we have a lot of women coming by, but we had young 12-year-old children, and boys were like, this looks like fun. And the boys were just learning to hook. It's great. I got some pictures of the boys. So it's just a matter, I think, of how young they're taught, and if this is a cool thing, if it's acceptable for boys. I think it should be.
Well,
Yeah, this one was a great piece. Fun to do, and one of my first to really get the sculpting down. And then it won the award at Green Mountain Show. This and this, for instance. So this year I do teach beginners, and this year I had one art center in New Hampshire that said, well, we don't want to do a geometric or flowers, we want to do a heart. So I started playing around with the texture and the hearts and what can we do. And I did the heart class, and it was a lot of fun. And I mean, the types of materials, here's velvet in here, velvet, here's our shinies, here's some sari silk, here's some fluffy yarn. I mean, we had all kinds of materials, and they loved it. They had a lot of fun with that project. So these birds, these are the kestrels I played with this winter. I made 3 or 4 kestrels and a cutout kestrel to go into the Vin's show. I always have a lot of great horned owls. I make a lot of them and they sell. So I just keep making more of those. And my eagles, a lot of eagles. They're pretty popular this year. Cardinals, bluebirds. Oh, this guy too, yeah, and this one, Barnes. So I make these little ones, and because I'm juried in the league, I have shops I can bring little pieces to, and they sell. So I rotate these little pieces in shops. And then my owl show, the 34 birds from Vin's, including 6 cutout birds, will be traveling to Audubon in Concord, New Hampshire in December, and it'll be a traveling show for raptors and birds. Yeah, this is one piece left. I sold all the pieces from my African Tanzania, and I did another one because I wanted to keep a giraffe. Rug hooking, I should tell you this, you get into dyeing. So you learn to dye wool to the colors you want. So I have a laundry room where I can dye my wool. I buy a whole bolt of white from Door Mill, and then we cut it up and we start dyeing. So if you want a blend, you've got it. If you want a spotted look, you've got it. Here's a beautiful spotted. Here's another blend. Oh, and I mean, look at these wools. I mean, they're unbelievable. So I like to do my backgrounds from wool like this, because I can cut it this way, go blue down. And when you scrunch this up, this isn't going to give you that much wool. You know, you're going to be down to maybe half that size when you hook it. But the color, that's playing with color. And that's almost like making a watercolor to me, is blending this together. So that's the fun part. This is something, not everybody does it this way. You know, everyone has their own way of making backgrounds, and that's just the way I like to flow with the wool. You stay there. It's as much color coordinated as I can do with this space. When I move down to a bigger space, oh, you could come and see how organized I'm going to be, and everything in cooking world. I'm known all over because I've been in Atha magazine, and I've been on the covers of magazines. I think the most interesting thing for me was in 2019, I'm a juried member of the League. The League of New Hampshire Craftsmen is all crafts, jewelry and pottery and many crafts and weaving. Rug hooking has only come into its own, I'd say, with this group in the last 10 to 15 years. I've been juried in for 7. And when I made, they chose my heron, Bucky the Blue Heron, to be that cover of their magazine. It was huge for rug hookers all over our New Hampshire group, and they chose and bought my logo to make it on their T-shirts for the year. So I have T-shirts. I should have worn it with my heron. But when I got together with my group to demo, we all said, "Wow, we're trying to be a fine art. We're trying to fit in with all these other established crafts like weaving and jewelry, and now we think they're seeing us, and it's getting out there." So that was a huge turning point for our whole group to make that cover.
Right, and that's going to just be contagious, right? It
Yeah.
gives people permission to
Play with this.
It's not just a craft; it's a discipline that can lead in all kinds of directions.
Yeah, exactly. And Sunapee Fair gets in 5,000 a day people. They're open 7 days. The weekends are 5,000 to 6,000. The weekdays, because I'm there every day and I'm demoing, the weekdays 2,000 to 3,000. That's a lot of people coming through. We get people from all over the country that come for this show. The show's been around, I think this year was its 92nd or 3rd year. So I've known about this because I was born and brought up in New Hampshire since I was young, and have gone to that fair. So it's just great they're promoting it. They're asking us to do mentor programs and teach other people how to do rug hooking in New Hampshire. They give grants to get you going with your craft if you want to. It's just a wonderful organization. That could be interesting. Well, this will be the first piece. I'm getting together with this group that's doing the endangered species, and everyone's picking, you had to right away pick what you wanted to do, and she only took so many people, well-known rug hookers in this country, because this will be a traveling show. So we'll see where that goes. Yeah, I think it would be great to do more that way. Shade with tiny pieces of woolen yarn, and I wanted to do shaded flowers. So I've done a lot of flowers. I took some incredible teachers.
Oh, maybe keep going. Keep going.
Let me bring you another flower. We'll have 2 to look at. Oops, oh, I didn't take it off. I left it on. Okay. So when I started rug hooking in the beginning, I said, well, what am I going to do? And I wasn't thinking of birds because I had just done botanical illustration classes, painting with watercolors. I said, I want to do flowers. So I studied what's called fine shading of flowers. How do you blend the wool to get, especially this one has a good sample of fine shading. But even when I did this, you could see I started to raise things up. I couldn't live with the flat. Look, the texture came out, and I said, well, it could go on a table. And I did these little funky things. So this is all cut in a number 3, a very fine cut, and that's how you get a lot of shading of color. And people love to do fine shading. It's just a wonderful, fun, totally different than working with a bigger, fatter cut. So those are a couple samples. And then I've done pillows. You see this one? Oh, see, we do everything. Oh my gosh, we can find more and more. And they're not birds. I just wanted to point out, I've done other things than birds. I love my birds, but Very early, someone showed us how to do footstools. And also rug hooking, you can do footstools. You can cover things. You can make them into table mats, runners. It just doesn't end. So I got on the board. I was a board member for a couple years, and they said we need an education person, so I did it. And I took on the education chair. This is just where I frame my own work. But this area is my education, Green Mountain education area to make kits to teach people. So what they wanted me to do is to make kits. So I make a little geometric kit for rug hooking. Oh, here, let me see, this way and this way. So it's a little kit on linen for beginners, and we sell them for $30 with a hook and a little hoop. And you can see I've got a big supply here made. So other teachers will come to me and say, I've got a class of 10, I need 10 kits, and then we have 12 frames that we loan out for teachers. So that's all the finished kits. What this is over here is how we do it. So the process starts over here with raw linen. We buy linen by the bolt. And we cut the linen into pieces, and then we transfer it on with a light box. Here's my light box, and transfer that simple design onto another piece, and there you have it. So you want something simple for beginners. So we take this, and then we have to make wool. So over here, we have the cutter. So what we do is we take this cutter. It's very simple to show you. This belongs to the guild. It's a guild cutter, and it will cut these worms, we call them. So then I have this system where I cut them like this, cut a whole lot, and it goes very quickly. Those are worms. Number 6 cut. So this wouldn't be for a fine shading project. This would be for something wider. For a beginner, they'd use a wider type of a makes a lot of dust. And there are my worms. So then I just take the worms and use the tape, cut it over this way, and I've got some worms of this color. I take my worms and I sort them. I have friends come in and help me cut. So here we are. Here's some worms in this color. And here's some worms in black and white. And there's some reds and yellow and blue. There's plenty of worms. So the worms, the wool, then goes into, then we take a bag and we put it in a kit, very simple. So the bag, we put our flyers in for Green Mountain, and we put an instruction sheet in, and we have a kit. And over here, this is a new thing I'm doing because I hook with a lot of velvet, and I bought a Sizex machine. So a Sizex machine, shall I demo that? People probably know what it is. It makes cardstock, I think. But this has been, you can't cut the velvet and any other materials on the other cutter. That's just for rug hooking. But this Sizex machine just takes it. So this is how we cut all the shiny material, any other material that we have with this. Well, I thought this was pretty cool when I got it. You can get them at Michael's. And there you go. Velvet strips. So here's my velvet container. And I'll take this when I do a class and say, hey, everybody try a couple pieces and see what you think. So velvet goes in my kits. And the last thing that goes in my kits is yarn. So we have big supplies of yarn. We take a bunch of variety of yarn. Look. Whoops. Sorry. And fuzzy yarns, all kinds. We put them in a little bag, and there they go in the kit. And I put the piece over this, and then glue it on in the back, and then drop it into a frame. So I have a friend who makes my unusual sizes wood, then I have to paint it. And otherwise you just buy, I use all black frames, so that makes it a little easier. More velvet. You want to come back over here? Skippy's behaving. What is success to me? I mean, making artwork that people enjoy seeing. That's it. If people want to see it and say, wow, I like that, that works, that's great. I mean, yes, you can be on the cover of magazines. It doesn't matter to me.
Yourself?
Yes, I'm doing it for myself. That's it. If it makes me happy, that is true success, isn't it? I was going to say something else, but I forgot. Yeah, success is you being happy, really, with what you do. That's it. Learning was, how many ways can I do the nests? So it's called Nurturing Nest, and this is the first one. And then this is my second one. Sometime I'll finish. And what I'm very interested in. What else? How can I do? See, the border isn't the same. See how it changes green and then blue, and then this piece comes over. This comes off the border. So I want that look. Old piece. Oh, and my owl. This was won the award. They won awards.